Welcome. I'm Christopher Bearden, and I'll be the one you'll be exploring the art with today. TTQs, thoughts, theories, and questions. And I just tell you what I think and what I glean from the material. Enjoy. This episode starts with we're in front of Kamigawa Boxing Gym, and Ippo looks a little stressed out, and he says he's late, and he's referring to Takamura. And then we see Aoki and Kimura run up, and they're like, Ippo, what are you doing out here? And Ippo's basically like, today's my pro certification exam day, and I'm waiting for Takamura, but Takamura's late. And they're both like, yeah, Takamura's on time when it's for him, but when it's for anybody else, he on that CP time. Oh. So then they both go back and forth. They're arguing, Aoki and Kimura, about what is going to help get Ippo through his exam. They're like, yo, let me help you. Aoki's like, it's about the fighting spirit. You got to go in there and just show just that raw instinct, that attack energy. And Kimura's like, well, it's more about the techniques. I'm going to be more technical. Jabs, footwork, defense. And Aoki and Kimura keep going back and forth. They're like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They're like the two old men in the Muppets. Marcus and Mike Lowry in Bad Boys. Who else am I missing? What, Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte? Was it 48 Hours? But yeah, they're always going back and forth to each other. And then they start talking trash on each other about each other's pro certification exams. And we find out that they actually took theirs together, like at the same time. And so they talking smack about, man, you had no technique. You was out there looking like you was dancing, like you had to go to the bathroom. And my other dude was like, well, you was just out there running. You wasn't even fighting, my guy. So they're going back and forth. But they eased the tension for Ippo. He's not as nervous now. So he's starting to feel better. Then lo and behold, Takamura shows up right on time. He gonna be late, but he gonna be right on time. So then he scares Ippo, basically saying, well, you could just end up facing somebody like me. And Ippo's like, oh my gosh. But fortunately, Chief comes outside and sees him. He's like, what are y'all talking about? Ippo, you good. Just do your best and you'll pass. Do your thing. And Takamura's like, yeah, if he doesn't mess it up. And then coach didn't had enough, so he didn't throw the cane around Takamura's neck. And, so he's like, move. And an interesting detail on that first scene was there was a sign in front of the gym that said, I guess, looking for new fighters. So just interesting. Something that popped up on the subtitles. So I was like, okay, interesting. Okay. That's what that is. They hiring, getting new fighters. Looking, they searching. Also, that also connects to when we find out the previous episode. I think it's just the previous episode that Miyata left KBG. So then maybe that's what that's for. That's a reaction to that. So nice continuity. And so then Takamura and Ippo head over to Korakuen Hall. And that's where the pro certification exam is going to be held. But right now they're just in front. They traveled up to it. And it's active. It's popping. It's daytime, and you can see there's people that are out there just kind of having fun. There's shops, you can get food, drinks, entertainment. But then also you notice there are people in the crowd that have like that serious look. And those are the ones coming for their certification exam. So Ippo notices, and he starts mentioning to Takamura, like, man, these guys look serious. And Takamura's like, man, stop looking at them, dog. Just focus on you. You can't do nothing about them going pro. You trying to go pro. And then, lo and behold, Ippo gets a little distracted. That nose starts opening up. And I don't even know if I mentioned it, but in the round where he fights Miyata in their rematch spar, when he's coming from school to the gym, he runs past this girl, and she's on a bike, and his nose is all open up. He sprung. how'd you get me? And he's like, oh, she smells good. And basically, he sees her and thinks maybe that's a good omen for the day, for his rematch. Maybe it was, because he won. He came out on top. And so this time, he sees that same girl, but she's standing out front and, I guess looking at posters or something. We'll find out why she's standing out front later in future episodes. But right now, she's standing out front. Ippo sees her, and Takamura catches him. And he's like, oh, boy, you dog, man. You out here, what? So you don't need me? Huh? You just doing your thing now? You the big dog? So yeah, that's how Takamura helps Ippo make sure he stays nice and calm before his pro certification exam. I just think that also shows the confidence that Takamura has in Ippo. He likes treating him like a little brother, likes ragging on him. But I think also he knows. He's like, yo, this kid is special. I mean, he worked out with me for a week and sucked it up. You feel me? So that was all pre-certification exam. Now we get into the real deal. Pro certification exam time. So it starts out with a weigh-in. So you see everybody one by one, they're calling out numbers. Each fighter is getting on and they all just are in their shorts. And they're getting on the scale and they're taking their body weight. And Ippo is number 12. So he hops on and they say his weight. It was like 124 and a half. But I think the subtitles might be translating it to pounds. And then the fighter after him, number 13, he looks back, and we don't know his name yet, but his name is Mashiba, Ryo Mashiba. And he got them the dad from American Pie? He got my man's eyebrows. He got the eyebrows. I mean, I got some eyebrows. I got henchman eyebrows, but Ryo, my man, Mashiba got super villain eyebrows. And, but he doesn't say nothing, but he looks super intimidating, right? And Ippo even says it in his mind. He's like, wow, that guy is like, he looks strong. He looks like a force to be reckoned with. And then they say Mashiba's weight, and it's like 125 something. And Ippo's like, that guy's in my weight class. He's a featherweight. So then that's the weigh-in. Next scene is with Takamura. He's in the stands waiting to watch the sparring portion of the exam. And Fuji shows up. And Takamura's like, you writing a story? And Fuji's like, no, I'm just here to observe. Takamura's like, man, you need to go ahead and write some stories about me. You know your boy's number one stunner. So Fuji's like, nah, man, I'm trying to hear about Makanouchi. And Takamura's like, man, you trying to follow Ippo? That's why you here, the little old Ippo? You know, teasing him. And Fuji's like, no, that is not the only reason why I'm here. I'm also here for another fighter. And Takamura's like, what? And so we go to the written portion of the exam, and all the fighters are in there taking their test. And I forgot to mention it in the pre-pro certification part of the video. But Takamura mentions to Ippo that Miyata already passed his certification exam. He's a pro already. So while they're doing the written portion of the exam, Ippo's thinking about this and he's feeling pressure. And he accidentally breaks his pencil. And him being him, Ippo being Ippo, I can attest to being similar. When I do a Christopher, it's because I did something goofy. And Ippo did it. Ippo, he knocked over all his pencils. He's making noise. He's making a racket like Agent. Is it Agent J in Men in Black? Will Smith's character in Men in Black, when he's doing the first test, he done poked a hole through the test booklet. He moving the desk and it's like trying to write on the side of the table on the chair, the egg chair. But that's what Ippo was doing, causing a ruckus. And at first, everyone was kind of getting annoyed. But he's so silly, he kind of released the tension. And he kind of helped everybody kind of, laugh. And I'm guessing, go ahead and perform probably better on the exam since they were more relaxed. And the fighter sitting next to him saw that he broke his pencil and offered him his. And of course, Ippo doing another Ippo. In appreciation, he bows, but then he hits his head on the pencil and makes the other guy laugh. So he's just looking super silly. Got everybody low-key dying in this test room, the written exam. And then right after, I'm assuming they're waiting for the results because the fighter that offered his pencil and Ippo are kind of just standing around talking. I'm not sure if they have a snack or maybe a water or something, but they're standing around like the test area. It looks like right outside the room. And they're kind of having a bro-to-bro moment, you know, being positive. You know what, man, do a good job, man. I'm rooting for you. Yeah, you too type stuff, right? And so Mashiba, he was taking the written exam with them, and he was the only one not feeling all that silliness and Ippo being a clown. Even though it was by accident, Mashiba, it was just pissing Mashiba off. So Mashiba sees this brotherhood happening, this connection, and he walks through and breaks their handshake up. Like on some reality TV stuff. Like he was like, nah, I'm hating on all that. Ain't no love, ain't no connection. I'm breaking all that up. I'm breaker. Then he punches this chalkboard that says, basically, these names that will be below in this blank area are the names of the fighters that passed the exam. So it's like a metaphor. I don't care about whoever passes this exam. I'm taking them out. I'm grubbing. It's like, dang. So then they flash back to Takamura and Fuji in the audience and kind of set us up. This is to kind of set us up for what's to come. They mentioned that, you know, usually the sparring in these pro certification exams aren't that great. They're not really fighting to win or lose. They're just kind of showing what they've learned. It's more to like pass a test. It's not really as competitive. They tell you don't even worry about winning or losing. And so, you know, Takamura basically says like all these fights are whack except when I did it. And and Fuji's like, okay, but then he mentions how he's looking out and seeing all these boxers since the written portion of the exam is over. All these boxers are warming up, but he doesn't see Ippo. And Takamura's like, let me go check. So he checks the bathroom, and Ippo's over there going over his stuff, you know, crossing his T's, dotting his I's. All right, use my right, left. Trying to remember what Chief taught him. And basically Takamura goes in there, and it's to help him out, kinda. And he does, because he gets his mind off the match when he's teasing him and making him feel bad and slapping him on his back to basically like bane his back. He's trying to snap his back with the slap. Heavy-handed. That's what I've been called, heavy-handed. That's what it looks like. Takamura is heavy-handed. And of course he is. He got hands of stone. You feel me? And so who knows how motivated he got Ippo. But Ippo was ready. So it's his time to go spar. And as he walks up, he looks up and sees the lights, which I think is important. He didn't ignore them. He drank all of that in. There wasn't really an audience yet, but they always talk about how it's different under the bright lights. And so I'm glad he didn't shy away from it. He wasn't timid. He had his eyes wide open, drank all of it in, soaked all of it in, and then doubled down into his focus and what he had to do in the moment. And so they begin the spar. And that's when they tell him about, you know, don't try to win, don't try to lose, just kind of show what you learned. But clearly we learned Ippo has learned a whole bunch. So they start boxing, and his opponent's throwing punches. And Ippo's like, yo, my man is slow compared to Miyata. And he doing the Neo to Agent Smith at the end of the Matrix, where he was like, and he looking at his stuff while he blocking it, like, are you hitting me with these? You know what I'm saying? That's what he's doing to him. Ippo's defense. And then Ippo hits him with a jab, and Ippo's so quick and strong, it gets through my man's guard. And then my man kind of drops his guard, and that's when Ippo steps in and does what Takamura taught him like the first time to hit the heavy bag. Steps in, turns his hips, turns his shoulder, pow, cracks my man in the face, and like hits him with the Dragon Ball Z flying the air backwards joint. And so everybody watching this is like, yo, what? Like, we just been watching people just trying to pass a test all day. And he just came through with the wild, like, My man couldn't touch him. Hit him with the sweet pea Parnell, zip, zip, zippity doo, and then cracked him with a Tysoner. And Mashiba's watching. And Mashiba don't like this. Mashiba not tripping. Mashiba not like, oh, he's not a threat. Mashiba's like, yo. And when Ippo cracked his opponent, the mouthpiece went flying towards Mashiba. So, you know, Mashiba feels some type of way. And of course, there's no audience, so you can hear the other boxers and people in the stands comment. And they're like, oh, what a monster. Oh, wow. That guy's, wow. So now Ippo's the talk of the whole exam now, right? Yeah, Mashiba not having that. Next. So it's Mashiba's time to spar. And lo and behold, who is Mashiba sparring against? None other than the guy Ippo was making a connection with, the pencil offerer, the Good Samaritan. And so while Mashiba and this Good Samaritan are getting ready to spar, and they're telling them the rules and letting them know what, you know, what the whole deal is, Mashiba looks over at Ippo and gives him like a smile, like, yeah, this ad whooping, this can I'm about to open up, yeah, I'm gonna direct it on this dude right here, but it's for you, baby. So then they start the fight, and Mashiba hits him with lowers his stance, and I'm just putting my shoulders up so you can still see it in the shot. And he hits him with one of these slice and dice. This is what his form looks like, except it's not this high. I'm just trying to show you in the camera. And then we're gonna talk about this later, but this is a stance. Well, we'll talk about it after the post-pro certification exam part of the video. You feel me? So he's hitting him with the slice and dice, and you hear the slice, and then bow hits him with a flicker jab. And he is so fast, and he's hitting them with flicker jabs from all different directions. And my man is trying to guard, but some of them are getting through, and it's opening up his guard. And then finally his guard opens up, and my man Mashiba darts in and just starts cracking on. Bow, bow. Each punch coming from the depths of his soul, trying to wreck the competition. Wow, wow, wow. My man's just getting lit up, right? And Takamura's like, yo, my man is putting punches in. Like, look at his fundamentals. He's putting his hips into every punch. He's really cracking. And the ref jumps in and is like, stop, number 13, stop. And Mashiba moves the ref out the way. They didn't ding the bell yet. And Mashiba goes back in. Wow, 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 wow. Finally, they ding the bell. And Mashiba, obviously, he almost leaves our man's just, he a ragdoll. He a lamp. He Woody when Andy in the room. You feel me? Everybody when Andy in the room. And so everybody's like, yo. And Mashiba's standing up like, yeah, I'm the monster. I'm the one who knocks. Ippo. Knock, knock. So that is the professional certification exam. And we clearly see the other fighter that Fuji was there to watch. None other than Ryo Mashiba. Post-professional certification exam. Ippo and Takamura are walking out. And Ippo, even though he knows that he did a good job, he's down because he just saw this potential friend that he made at the exam get demolished. And so he's telling Takamura, he's like, man, he didn't have to go that extreme, man. This is an exam. And Takamura's like, look, dude, this is boxing. And that's one thing I realized during the exam between Fuji and Takamura. They didn't see it as savagery when Mashiba was going in. He fought until the bell was over, and they both acknowledged how high level of a boxer he was. So Takamura's letting Ippo know, this is a tough sport. You got to have a strong spine to do this. There is no because you're nice and things are cool, things are going to go your way. No, the battle is always things will not go your way. And Takamura's like, what you need to be thinking about is the way that Mashiba was fighting. Did you see the jabs he was throwing? And this is where he explains Mashiba, when he dropped his stance or his guard and started doing this, he says that is a flicker jab stance, and that comes from the world champion in 5 different weight classes, Tommy the Hitman Hearns. Now, I like to watch the YouTube channel Nobody Brings It Home Like Joe Vincent. Nobody. And I love his videos on Tommy Hearns and Marvin Marvelous Hagler and that fight they had against each other. So when they mentioned this, I was like, oh, that's cold. They didn't have the photo of him with the afro in the show, but I still dig it. It's dope. They did show him, though, the animated version of Hearns. So Takamura is letting Ippo know, you got to watch out for that flicker jab. And while Ippo's taking this all in, Fuji comes over and he brings Mashiba with him so he can introduce him to Makanuchi. And so he says, hey, this is Ryu Mashiba, where we finally learn his name, his introduction. And he's from the Toho gym, which I believe in a couple rounds ago, Takamura had his fight. And I think that was a fighter from the Toho gym. So Fuji introduces them to each other. And Mashiba wasn't even having none of that. He cuts it all off. And he's like, look, as long as I'm alive, you will not be at the top of the featherweight division. You need to switch weight classes. You want to go ahead and switch? Now, in my head, I was thinking, oh, Mashiba, you old scary ass. You don't even want to fight him. You like, you want to switch first? Huh? You the scared one, but you're crying. You're crying, but do you need a tissue? You're crying. I was like, dang, bro, you gonna ask him to leave? You look like the scared one. But anyways, Ippo responded. And oh yeah, he responded. He said, you know what? I made a promise to somebody to see them at the final match of the Eastern Rookie Japanese Tournament. And that's what I'm going to do. And Mashiba was like, what the? And both Takamura and Fuji were there to see it all go down. And then Ippo just dips. He walks. He don't wait for no bye. He don't, no nice to see you. Just dips. And it's like, oh, that boy Ippo cold, boy. So then they go to the next day. And Ippo is so excited. He's running away. He's leaving high school. School's over for the day. So he's going to the gym. And the bullies see him, Umezawa. And my man's gone. He gets to the gym, gets to the office, so excited, asks him, did he come in? Did he come in? And Mr. Yagi's like, yep, it came in. And he hands him his professional boxing card. Yes, Ippo did it. He did it, man. He's a pro. It's been like 6 months. And I'll tell you why I know it's been like 6 months. But yes, he's a pro. He made some serious steps, worked his butt off, and look where it's gotten him. I'm happy for you, Ippo. Yes, yes. So he gets his card. He's so excited, and coach isn't facing him. Coach is facing the other way, basically, like I don't want to show you that I'm satisfied because I want you to still push. But yes, congratulations. And but Chief, I love it. He's so excited, he doesn't listen. And Ippo literally says, I have to go help my mom. And Mr. Yagi knew that Ippo had to leave and go help his mom, and that he was just coming real quick to grab the card. Thank you so much. I'll be back in training when I'm, after I help moms or whatever. And so Chief turns around because he's like, we got to prepare you for your debut professional match. And you need to do lots of, and of course, Ippo's not there anymore. Mr. Yagi's laughing because Chief was just so caught up in his own world. He was so happy. He had to catch himself. He was like, all right, don't get too happy. Remember, we have to stay hungry. Hungry like the wolf. So Ippo's running. And lo and behold, Umezawa and his bullies stalked Ippo to KBG. So they run up on him when Ippo's walking to go help his mom. And basically they try to bully him. Hey, so what's up? We see you joined a boxing gym? Man, anybody can join a boxing gym. The other one of his cronies, man, any celebrity can join a boxing gym. Care if you a boxer? What, you trying to get revenge on us? That's why you want to become a boxer? This is what they're saying to him, right? So they take his bag, throw it on the ground. They take his boxing card, and Ippo's like, oh, no. You ain't taking my boxing card. In Batman, the Arkham games, when you go into detective mode and everything's kind of blue and you see the glowing yellow or orange thing that you're supposed to be looking at, that's what that was like in Ippo's mind. Everything else was the blue and black, and the only thing he saw was his boxing professional card he just got, and it was glowing gold. And he was like, I'm getting that. So in a very similar situation where Umezawa and his cronies are trying to fight Ippo, Ippo dodges the two cronies of Umezawa's, just like Takamura did when he came to save Ippo in that same spot, might I add you, like not too far from there. And then Ippo, quick jab, gets that boxing license back, and all three of them are just stunned like, what just happened? Did he? And Ippo grabs his bag and he just, I'm gone. Ippo takes off. I don't even know if he walks or runs, but the bullies are just so like, dang, he's a boxer? I can't believe he's a different person. Did you see what he just did? He was moving at like superhuman speed. What the is going on? So he clearly turned them into believers. Believe. You must believe. So Ippo, we find him next to some trash. I guess just to get away and hide from the bullies or whatever. Not really hide, but just to get away and be by himself. And he's looking at his pro boxing card and he is so elated. And he sits there and he reflects. And that's when he says to himself, it's been 6 months since Takamura saved me from Umezawa and basically whooping my butt to the point to where I blacked out. And look where I'm at now. I didn't need Takamura. I wasn't looking for Takamura. I didn't need help. I wanted my ID back. I didn't resort to violence. But they weren't an obstacle. They're not an obstacle anymore, not even a speed bump. And it's like, wow, Ippo, you changed. And he's so excited. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm a pro. I have to go even harder. I'm going to keep doing this to keep changing my life. And people are like walking by and they're like, well, who's this dude sitting by trash, like holding this card up to us, mumbling to himself. And he realizes, all right, I'm being a little too weird in public. Let me dip. So then he leaves. And they show us the next day back at KBG, and I love it. Boxers, I love the idea of boxers, just the Warriors mentality. We just staying in the gym. We're not going for a dopamine hit of, oh, I went so hard, let me do something to make me feel better after. It's like, no, the goal is to stay in it, keep fighting. We're trying to get better every day, keep grinding. So that's where Ippo's back in the gym. And he's hitting the heavy bag and doesn't realize Takamura is on the other side of the heavy bag. And of course, Takamura is ready to mess with him because now Ippo's a pro. So Takamura's like, oh, you trying to challenge me? Hit the heavy bag. Hit the heavy bag. Ippo hits the heavy bag and Takamura's like, oh, you strong. And Ippo's like, yeah. And Takamura's like, no. Bang! Cracks the heavy bag, puts Ippo on the floor. And then lo and behold, who comes in? Fuji. Fuji comes in with a couple of tapes he wants Ippo to see. So they go into, I guess, the tape room. Game tapes, like currency. Game tapes. Game tapes. So they watch the game tapes. And the first tape they put in is a fight of Miyata, his debut match as a professional boxer. And Miyata wins in decisive fashion. We see his opponent throw that punch, and Miyata hit him with that KO counter punch. And it slept him, left him, leaved him. So very impressive. And Takamura jabbing at Ippo. Man, if you and Miyata fought right now, Miyata would smoke you. Ippo's like, yeah, Miyata's great. He's so humble. Then Fuji's like, no, don't go nowhere, Ippo. Sit your butt back down. I got some more tapes. Actually, one more tape. So he puts in the tape. And it's Mashiba. And we see him doing his flicker jab, Tommy the Hitman Hearns stance. Wah, 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 bah. Wins in decisive fashion. Again, the flicker jabs, the fighter can't see. The flicker jab gets into the guard gets dropped. My man's able to close distance and just start working him. So they both dominate. And Ippo's like, yeah, I gotta train. So he leaves the room. And Takamura and Fuji are in the room together. And they're like, yeah. Fuji's like, these aren't two average newbies. These are some great fighters. And so is Ippo. Hence, I'm sure why he's at the gym showing it to him. Look, they already had their pro debut match. And they rocked it. Be confident, Ippo. Be confident. You know you're on the level of these fighters. Do your thing, sir. So Ippo leaves. And he goes to, I guess, kind of just put some water on his head. Maybe he's about to go do some road work and just wants to get nice and cool before he goes out. but he hears somebody calling his name, and it's Mr. Yagi. And Mr. Yagi and Coach Kamigawa, or Komagawa? Kamigawa. I always keep going back and forth. I watch the episodes over and over, but I always second guess myself. Even with notes. So Coach Kamigawa and Mr. Yagi say, hey, Ippo, we got some great news. We finally found your opponent for your debut professional match. And he is coming in the next round. So yeah, round 10, we will be finding out who Ippo fights as a pro debut. So any life lessons? Well, one, we don't know a lot about Mashiba yet, but already don't judge a book by its cover. We all have reasons why we are the way we are. Mashiba didn't break any laws. Mashiba didn't do anything that wasn't within the rule books or the parameters or the guidelines. He's just not everybody's cup of tea. You know, he's an acquired taste. Have you? If you have you, if I have you, have you? So yeah, don't judge a book by its cover. Be able to see the gold, even behind all the stuff that might turn you off in the moment. I like the fact that Fuji and Takamura weren't caught up in, and of course they're, veterans in the game, been in the game for years, but they weren't caught up in the fact that Mashiba didn't look like a cool guy or that he wasn't trying to be friends. It's like, yo, we're here to box. He's a great fighter. I'm not going to hate on him because everybody else wants to be buddy or is cool with like, hey, yeah, cool, positivity. Mashiba's like, no, and we'll find out why, because it's not without reason, which another reason why I love this show is that they don't make everything black and white. They complexify it. They gray it up. And I love that because that's what we deal with all the time. And when, dope show, dope. Any other life lessons? Keep pushing, even after a perceived victory. It's not only about the victory, which is a good stepping stone and it feels good temporarily, but reading more of Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, the goal is that you're continuing to furnace or to feed the fire that is you're never quit. You're one more step. I don't care how it looks, or I don't care about if my ego says, oh, I'm not as strong as I thought I was, or in shape as I was, or look as good as I was, or compared to none of that. It's about what am I doing now, and how do I strengthen my mind now by doing something I want to stop doing, but keep doing it and see how much longer I can do it. Because it's about preparing for war, preparing for that battle, and that emergency that just happened, that's happening now, or that's coming in the future. That's what we all want to be prepared for. And of course, we all gonna die. So, I mean, even if you live a perfect, happy, the death is coming. And so how are you going to deal with that? With anxiety, with stress, with losing sleep, with fighting those that love you, fighting the beauty around you, or are you going to accept and keep fighting forward? I'm not going to slow down because death is on the horizon. That means I'm going to go even harder. That means I want to wring out the towel of my life, the energy that I have, all that. I want to wring it out so much, even more. So yeah, more of the same. But again, if that's a life lesson I can continue to remind myself about, that's what I need. If that's a superpower, that's a superpower I need that I'm working on. Indomitable will. Indomitable will. See, I just practiced it. I messed up, but I just came back and tried it again. Just come back. Come back. Keep going, y'all. Round 10 on the way. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.